All right, so officially welcome to the evening session. So we're going to just have a look at today's email, the teaching in there, and the lesson. And we'll see how much time we have. Do some text as well. Okay, so just share my screen with you. Okay, so there we go. All right, so what is going realistic? Okay, so anyone like to read that?
I'll go.
Okay.
We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars.
Okay. So today's inspirational quote, it's a good reminder to ask yourself frequently, where is my attention focused? What am I focused on? As Irish poet and playwright Oscar Wilde observed, we're all in the gutter. It was made up by the ego or the belief in separation. And I think, we experience some of that today. It's not a nice place to be. These dark thoughts and emotions stuck in separation. But what do you focus on? Some of us are looking at the stars. So some are going, okay, so, what's the way out of this? I'm not going to get lost in the gutter. I'm going to look at stars, some symbolize the transcendent dimension, to replace heaven. So we've decided for the gutter rather than for the stars of the transcendent dimension. So remember, it's just a state of heaven is just a state of pure formless awareness. So if you keep your attention focused on the dark reality of the gutter, the ego's whole, really, of all the negative thoughts and emotions, you'll never see the stars, which symbolize the transcendent reality of pure formless awareness and the highest spiritual interpretation of the quote. So you could interpret the quote in an ego level, say, well, the stars are your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, or you could look at the stars as symbolic of another dimensional reality, so far beyond the gutter that it's completely a different reality. So I think we've explored the gutter. The session this afternoon was powerful because it was getting out of the gutter. Does everyone feel like there's been a shift? That there's no going back, really? Would you really want to go back into the gutter when you know that love is there and it's available to you always? And only your own decision can block it. Only your own decision can block it. So why would you do that? It's a question. There's no reason, is there? Did everyone see? There's absolutely no reason to continue in the ego.
Yeah, I think it's like, I suppose it's been, say, all this time our operating system. So it's really about vigilance as well.
Yeah.
I think it can be easy to slip back into it.
It can, yeah. So that's why I'm saying the mind training is the vigilance, so that you become aware more and more aware of these kinds of thoughts, and willing to let them go.
I'm glad you changed the name to Flop, because that fundamental life operating program, I wouldn't have joined that, I don't think.
Right.
So I'm glad you called it a flop.
Right. Okay.
I'm just looking at it now. Fundamental life operating
program. Yeah. Flop is flip the flop. So that's what we did this afternoon. And well done, everyone. It was a great session. Really, really powerful stuff to do. Not easy work to do, but life changing. Okay, so shall we have a look at today's lesson? I'm determined to see things differently. Who wants to read? Let's someone read the lesson and the first slide.
Okay, I'll go. I am determined to see things differently. Alternatively, I am determined to perceive everything differently.
Okay, so sight is really about perception. It's not just seeing. What he means is perceive. So I'm determined to perceive things differently, everything differently.
Okay.
Then want to read the next one?
You will become increasingly aware that a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn over intense fury. We are all sitting on far more anger than we realize, but out of our extreme discomfort with it, we do our best to minimize it. The veil. We tell ourselves that minor irritations shouldn't even be counted as anger. We tell ourselves we only get angry when it's really justified. We tell ourselves that we are not angry at a person as a whole, that our anger is safely limited to some annoying attribute of theirs. You do not really recognize what arouses anger in you.
Yeah. So this is how we justify anger. I think this is quite a good slide, isn't it? We have all this stuff where you say, well, it's okay. I was just a little bit irritated, and that's so normal for people, isn't it? It's just normal that they do that. Tell ourselves that minor irritation shouldn't even be counted as anger. Tell ourselves we only get angry when it's really justified. And these are all ways that we deny the anger. We maintain it.
Yeah, it is something to get the head around, that it's we have all different words for varying levels of what is called here anger. So minor irritation feels like something small, and here it's lumped all together.
Yeah.
Is one thing.
We think it's okay, don't we? We've been conditioned to not even. I weren't even allowed to be angry as a child. There was something wrong with me if I was angry, so you just seem to suppress it. So this is a really good way of really opening it up and see what it's all about.
Yeah. He's saying minor irritations. It's just a veil drawn over intense fury. So boiling underneath that, you're like, I'm just irritated. But actually, if you dig deeper into that, there's the whole ego's thought system. And then it unpacks it quite nicely. The stronger the sense of sinfulness. So I feel like I'm wrong. just to be alive. I mean, Sue's share was quite good, wasn't it? It's like I feel like I don't deserve to exist. This is the ego sense of sinfulness. At the very core of it, doesn't feel like it should exist.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
how I felt
sinful.
actually. I felt exactly what she said.
Yeah, it's sinful
I could
at
relate.
its very nature. And the reason for that, you understand the metaphysics, is because, here we go, because the only reason why the ego exists is through the denial of love. It's based entirely on the denial of love, the denial of what's true. So entire existence rests on a lie, on what's false. So now how can an entity like that ever think that it deserves to exist when it doesn't? So now if you choose it and you identify with it, then there's this sense of being sinful at your very core, just because of who I am, because I'm a separate self. I am sinful, I'm guilty, and I deserve to be punished. So sense of deserving punishment. Stronger the feeling of guilt, sinfulness, deserving punishment, and then anger. Stronger the sense of anger. Because if I'm guilty, and I'm sinful, then fear results, false expectation of punishment appearing real, and then I must believe that I'm going to be attacked. So we project that onto fearful, wrathful, vengeful God, and then we fear attack. So now there's anger and attack go hand in hand. And I feel angry that I'm being attacked, even though that's my own projection. It's completely insane. I've projected it out. It's my own miscreation, but I feel angry because I feel like I'm threatened and attacked. And of course, we project it out to others. So it's projected onto this, and then other people and things seem to be attacking us. And then we feel, angry in response. Well, why is this happening to me? How dare they? And that reinforces the whole pattern. Whenever you get angry, it reinforces the fear, which reinforces the guilt and the sin. And so the program continues. Stronger the anger, ensuring punishment will come. So this intense fury implies an intense sense of sinfulness. Stronger the anger, ensuring punishment will come. And that obviously feeds back into the sense of sinfulness. So if I'm angry and I'm believing in the reality of punishment, well, that reinforces the idea that I'm sinful and I'm guilty and I deserve to be punished. And around you go. The more angry you get, the more sin and guilt you feel, and you carry on, feeling that, projecting it, strengthening it, and we get caught in this feedback loop.
I'm not so clear on why being angry would enforce or implies an intense sense of sinfulness. I don't know if I experience. I don't know.
Well, anger implies punishment. Yeah, anger is the punishment.
But is it punishment towards others or punishment because people can also
it's the same.
angry with
It's all
others?
the same. Whether you're trying to punish someone else, you're projecting anger to them, or you're feeling angry towards yourself, or you're attacking someone or someone's attacking you, it's all the same, actually. There's no difference. Anger is anger. So anger makes punishment appear to be real. That's why. So it reinforces guilt and the sin, which then lead to fear, which then leads to the expectation of punishment. That's what fear is. Then anger is the manifestation of that punishment. Okay, so I do deserve to be punished. So it reinforces that I must have been sinful and guilty in order to be punished. And so it feeds back straight into the sense of an individual self that's guilty and sinful, which now must fear, and then fear punishment, and then anger and attack are a natural consequence of the fear. False expectation of punishment appearing real. Does that make sense?
I think that I understand the fear leading to the anger. And I think anger, if you get angry, like if I might get angry, I feel bad afterwards for getting angry. But I'm not sure if everyone does. Like,
oh no, you
maybe
do.
they feel justified.
Everyone.
Maybe sometimes you feel justified to be angry, so you don't recognize that you're being sinful. You're being angry because you perceive someone else being sinful. I don't know. And maybe in the like this, for example, in the context of load shedding in South Africa, everyone's angry with ACIM. I don't think many people feel guilty about being angry with ACIM, for example.
Oh, no, but no, it's all subconscious, you see.
Yeah, maybe it's subconscious.
So they get angry with ACIM and they go, well, it's ACIM and they've messed up and but the more they do that, the more they project their anger and they blame, the more that sense of sinfulness is reinforced in their subconscious.
Yeah,
we haven't made the causal connection between sin and guilt and the fear and the anger, which is what he's getting us to do here. So everyone's projecting their guilt onto ACIM and saying, well, you guys are a mess and dysfunctional and you're sinful. And what we're trying to do really with this whole mechanism is get rid of our own sense of sin and guilt. So it's not mine, it's someone else's. We project it onto someone else.
So complaining is linked to also complaining is linked to the guilt as well, right? Like, because I was just thinking of the example of like in France, my mom was watching the news and they were talking about this big strike again coming on Tuesday. So they're all going to be complaining about the retirement being pushed like to 74 years old. So they're all going to complain about their retirement being, later than it was. So everybody that's going to take part in this protest is going to reinforce this collective guilt or complaint or anger, actually, because it's linked to anger, right? The complaint is linked to anger.
Yeah. Yes. So accusation, blame, and complaint is a manifestation of anger, which is a manifestation of fear, which is a manifestation of guilt and sin. And the more angry you get, the more you accuse, blame, and complain, the more that sense of sinfulness is strengthened. Your separate identity is strengthened. So then you feel more guilt. So then the ego's answer to guilt is, well, project it out. Someone else is guilty, you're not guilty. So did you see what it's doing? Very important to recognize the ego's strategy. It's saying, I want my individual self. I still desire that, but I don't like the guilt because it's intolerable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to project it out in the form of anger, accusation, blame, complaint, attack. These are all forms of projection of guilt outwards, onto someone or something else. See that?
So you're saying my anger is causing the projection of what I'm seeing. So what you're saying? So
it's the guilt and the sin that are causing it, right? At the root cause, it's the idea of separation. And if you believe the idea of separation, then that causes guilt. Because in order to exist and be something separate, you must have destroyed love. So that's what you're guilty for. The terrible crime of destroying everything that is pure and holy and innocent. And you think you exist because of that.
You're saying that's why I'm seeing this projection of these people complaining and being angry and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all a projection of this delusional idea that we're guilty and sinful.
But if I don't take part, if I don't take part in that, I don't get it. Because if I don't take part in that complaining or that strike or whatever, how am I guilty of that? If
No,
I'm
you're
doing,
not. You can look at it with awareness and go, okay, I see what they're doing.
yeah,
And none of it's true. I don't have to believe it. Not what they're trying to do is actually just perpetuate the ego's thought system. That's what
yeah,
everyone's.
exactly. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking more like to have the awareness of overlooking
Yeah.
at what they're doing, which reinforce that collective guilt or separation, guilt and
But
separation.
once you see the game, once you understand how it works, you don't have to believe it. You can just observe it. Okay, that's what they're doing.
Mm.
Everyone's accusing, blaming, complaining,
Yeah,
and they think it's going to work. They think that strategy is somehow going to achieve anything. And with this knowledge, it's not. It's never going to work. You're just going to keep going around and around the same pattern, the same cycle endlessly. And we see that there's no resolution in the ego thought system.
so
It'll
it's the
just
same
continue.
with like complaining at ACIM. It's exactly the same, actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
You're just trying to project your guilt outwards onto someone or something. And once you've offloaded it, it feels a little bit better temporarily. See? So the ego gives you temporary relief. Okay, so I've just got really angry, bloody ESCOM or whatever it is, or the government, or we all have our favorite people and things we blame. And then I vent on that and I go, oh, okay, I feel like I've offloaded something. I got that off my chest and I feel a bit better temporarily. But you've just reinforced the program of guilt and sin, which must lead to fear, which must lead to attack thoughts. And you've just entrenched the guilt by doing that and the sin. And you don't even realize what you're doing. So this mind training is there to teach you what it is that you're doing. Show you that.
And be aware, yeah.
Be aware, of what you're doing. So that you don't play the pattern anymore. When the guilt comes and you feel that, you correct it at here. When you feel guilty, you feel sinful. You don't go, okay, well, now I'm going to go into a fear pattern. I'm going to project it out, try and get rid of it. Accusation, blame, complaint. You stop it there and you say, okay, the buck stops here. Right? If I'm feeling guilty and sinful, I just have to look at that and recognize that it's a delusion. I'm not guilty and sinful for anything because I never did anything. I never did separate. There is no individual self. The whole thing's deluded. So I still am God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness right now, and I claim it. I am love. And so you go beyond all of these games based just on a single tiny mad idea into truth, into oneness. Which is exactly what we did this afternoon. So the I am love, you just remind yourself, I'm feeling guilty, sinful, fearful, angry. I am love. Well, that just reinterprets it, doesn't it? That's the blue arrow in the diagram coming in and just reinterpreting it. It's a reinterpretation of the ego's dream by the Holy Spirit, saying, no, remember the guilt isn't true. Just a false belief in your mind. You can let it go. Okay?
So what are we reinterpreting?
We're reinterpreting the guilt and the sin and the fear and the attack. Everything in the ego system, all the red stuff, we reinterpret that.
To be what? That we just pure formless awareness or love.
To be, the reinterpretation is simply to look at all of this and go, this is insanity, it's madness. There's no justification for this. There's no need for it. It's completely crazy. It serves no useful purpose. It's based on a false idea. I don't want it. I can't believe this anymore. I'm not going to run the programming. I am love instead. That's the reinterpretation. So simple, really. That's all we're just being asked to bring all of this stuff to the truth and realize that none of it's true. The Holy Spirit's one judgment on the world, the last judgment, is none of this is true. And that's the only way out. You won't find another way. There's no other way. It has to be you either accept it or you deny it. Can't be a little bit of both. It's like you're either in this thought system, you accept it, you abide by its consequences, or you don't. You're out of it and you believe in something else. Okay, does that make it clear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
thinking of when we went through this on Friday evening about the whole, it never really happened.
Well, that's the only way out. It's the only way out, because if you make it real and it's happened, then guilt and sin and fear and all of the consequences are real, because the idea of separation is real. So Yeshua's giving us the only correction that you can make. You can simply say, at its source, the idea of separation is not true and it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is that clear? Everyone?
Yeah, I mean, the message has been made clear. It's just getting the head around it continuously.
Yeah. Whenever you feel those emotions, the guilt coming up, fear, you remind yourself, I am love.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth. That's how you apply this. The reinterpretation is no, this isn't true. I am still this. Love is the pointer to this. And then you correct the idea at its source. Okay, separation is the problem. Well, I am love. There's no separation. That's over now, because I'm believing only in love. Oh, it's a very simple process, very simple idea, corrective process. But to maintain it in the face of all these projections, and the ego is just doing this stuff all the time. To maintain it is the vigilance. Like, okay, I have to be still and calm. And just allow this spirit, pure formless awareness, to take me into itself, to give me the experience of itself. Beyond the dream, beyond all of this madness, this insanity. Okay, so let's we undo the cause by undoing one of the effects. So the course is teaching and saying, well, look, let's undo. When you deny anger, you deny that you're angry about something. You let go of those feelings, then you undo this feedback mechanism. You're no longer reinforcing the guilt. You're saying, in fact, that the anger isn't real, so the sense of deserving punishment isn't real, the feeling of guilt isn't real, and the sense of sinfulness isn't real. Just unpacking it all. But you start with perception. You must start on the perceptual level. So if we look at Instrument for Peace, it starts at the perceptual level. So if you start undoing the perception, letting that go, what you're really denying is the causation of the emotions, thoughts, and beliefs underlying it, aren't you? So letting go of your misperceptions lets go of the emotion, the thought, the belief. So it takes you down into the depths of the mind, to the core belief, which you let go of, and then all that's left is the true desire or prayer of the heart to be one again. So when you deny the manifestations of the beliefs, then you deny them, deny the beliefs. That's why this is a course in correcting perception, because this perception is where the rubber meets the road. This is where your beliefs and your thoughts and your emotions intersect with the so-called external world in this domain of perception. So you pull in sensory data by your senses. That's the raw material. And now you perceive it in a certain way. That's your perception. And yes, you're saying, well, primarily your perception is influenced by belief, thought, and emotion. Hasn't got anything to do with what's going on outside, really. So don't make the sensory data real. Just understand that you are projecting into all of your perceptions, all of your false thought system, your beliefs, thoughts, and emotions. If that's based on guilt and sin, then you will get angry. It's inevitable. The top level of perception, you have the idea of separation, sin and guilt going on. You will get triggered. You will get angry a lot because it's a natural consequence of that thought system. Okay. So, is that clear to everyone? How the ego works, the pattern of it, self-reinforcing nature of it, and how to undo it. You just look at the effects and you deny them, because then you must also be denying the cause. Yeah, so let's have a look at the lesson.
Wait, just go back there.
Yeah.
I don't want to. You say it says there we undo the cause by undoing one of the effects, but based on the instrument of peace document, it's more about trying to change a belief to change the effects.
Yeah, so by denying the effects, you deny the cause, see? So you say anger has no effect. Someone's done something and you're tempted to get angry, but you say, no, this is of no effect. I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna get upset. So you're undoing the effect in your mind, letting it go, and then you also undo the cause. You're undoing the cause, which is the idea that you deserve punishment, feelings of guilt, and then the sense of sinfulness. And that's his methodology, saying, well, you're gonna struggle just to find this. This is all subconscious. You're gonna struggle just to go in there and see it in your subconscious, but you see it in the effects. You see it in your anger, in your fear, in the games you play. So that's how it manifests. So that's where you see it, and then if you let it go there, you're canceling it out. You're canceling out the cause. So you track back from the end result and go all the way back in to the cause.
Okay, but if you go into the instrument of peace, you work back to the core belief, and changing that then can change it.
Yeah.
Up the levels. So to me, it's the opposite way around. Both maybe make sense, but I'm just saying for me, it's the opposite way around, or maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Well, it's the same process, whether you look at it in this way. The instrument for peace is just showing it differently. So there you have anger in your perception. Something's made you angry. So this would say, okay, so deny the cause of the anger. You think the cause is something or someone external. Someone's done something outrageous. How dare they? But actually, the cause is your own belief in sin and guilt, and your core belief, say I'm unworthy of love, other people must be too, and I have thoughts of lack and scarcity, and accusation, blame, complaint. My emotion is anger, and that underlies all of that. Underlies the perception. So now what I do is I need to let go of my interpretation of my perceptions. Drop those. And say that no, the cause is not external. The cause is in my mind. So I'm choosing to get upset here based on my interpretation of these events, which is coming from my core belief that I'm unlovable and I deserve to be punished, for example. Okay, so now causation is not external, it's internal. And now I can look at those emotions, those thoughts, those beliefs, and realize that they are false. They're based on one tiny mad idea of separation that is not true. And I've entrenched that belief in my core belief. My core belief gives form to this belief in separation. Yeah, is that clear? So it's the
so you're
same
still
process.
so you're still working from the
Perception
of backwards, but you switching the cause. I mean, your cause is still the desire or the belief, should I say?
Yeah, true cause. The cause is not the external world, the sensory data you've been given. It's your interpretation of it. Your interpretation of that comes from your core desire, belief, thought.
Okay.
So you're recognizing that causation is internal, which is the taking of responsibility. So then you can go, well, I can change it. I'm not bound by this belief. I can change the belief. I can change my thoughts. I can change my emotions. Belief, thoughts, and emotion create perception. So then my perception of the situation must change.
Okay.
Got it?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any other questions on this? Okay, so determined to see or perceive this person or situation differently without any trace of anger. That's the question. Can you do that? Okay, so who would like to read paragraph 1, the idea for today?
Well, we do that. The idea for today is obviously a continuation and extension of the preceding one. This time, however, specific mind-searching periods are necessary, in addition to applying the idea to particular situations as they may arise. 5 practice periods are urged, allowing a full minute for each.
Okay, so just saying, continuation, extension of the previous one. Previous one was I'm determined to see. This one's I'm determined to see things differently. So asking us to make a conscious choice to perceive differently, which is the start of any change in our perception. I choose to see it differently. Instead of being rooted in whatever my existing perception is, I choose to see it differently, which starts the journey back home, going within. Okay, well, maybe my emotion and my thought behind this aren't actually that justified. I choose to see it differently. Says it doesn't really matter what the apparent causation is. I can still choose to see it differently. And that's the start. That starts this process of inner inquiry, to really look at your emotions, your thoughts, beliefs. And then at the core of it, there's a desire or prayer of the heart. Yeah? So the desire is to be either one self or a separate self. What do you choose? Separate self? Well, you have to then choose the thought system, guilt, sin, fear, attack, and hatred. One self, all of that you realize is false, and it would represent the Holy Spirit. Okay. Let's go back. Where are we? So this is interesting. I'll read this, then we'll go into some practice. Read the first 3 paragraphs. Who would like to read number 2?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go on, Aurelie.
Yeah. Do you want to do it?
No, it's okay. I'll do the next one.
Okay. In the practice periods, begin by repeating the idea to yourself. Then close your eyes and search your mind carefully for situations, past, present, or anticipated, that arouse anger in you. The anger may take the form of any reaction, ranging from mild irritation to rage. The degree of the emotion you experience does not matter. You'll become increasingly aware that a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn over intense fury.
So that's very significant. A veil drawn over intense fury. So
It's interesting because I mentioned the
veil.
veil this afternoon, actually.
yeah, and there's layers. Each one's a veil. So I get minorly irritated. Maybe irritation is a common thing for me, but I don't realize what's underneath it.
Yeah.
That actually underneath it, the emotion is intense fury, rage.
Mm.
And underneath that is a thought system based on a belief that I am not love, I am not lovable, I deserve to be punished. And so, these kinds of negative things happen to me. And all I can do is feel angry about it if I believe in it. It reinforces the sin and the guilt. So I get angry and I project that anger out. I blame, accuse, complain. Well, that perception reinforces the belief that I must be sinful and guilty.
Mm.
And then I've got to do the same. So being aware, it's quite shocking, actually. When you first come into awareness, you think you're a sort of calm, peaceful person. Then you come into contact with this murderous rage. It's like, whoa, I didn't know that was even there.
Exactly.
I
Where
thought I
is
was
this
a
coming
good
from?
person. Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And you get scared that you might do something. Rage is uncontrollable. Like you might hurt yourself or others if that took control. So for a while, you can feel like really like, whoa, am I even in control of this thing? Because it could just take me over in a blind rage, and this accounts for so much of the pain and suffering in this world. People don't have control. The ego hijacks them, and they act in anger or rage, and they do things that are very unconscious, that are hurtful. So abuse, murder, harming people comes from anger, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So it can be quite shocking to go, wow, I see the extent of my rage, but it's also a part of the revealing process. You need to see that emotion, and you need to see the thought system behind it, and recognize what a delusion it is. The whole system is delusional because the core belief is not true. You never were separate. You can't choose to be a separate self.
And so the core belief is always like being unlovable or unworthy of love. That's what triggers those emotions of rage and all these subconscious emotions.
Yeah, because we've denied love.
Yeah.
So we've gone in our minds. No, I've chosen our separation. I've had to deny love in order to have the separation. We want the separate self, but then the intense guilt and sin that arises, and the overwhelming fear, then gets projected out as rage. And if you think of how the Big Bang came about, what was that but rage projected outwards? Enormous amount of energy just suddenly comes into being from nothing. Well, where did it come from? It came from the mind. A mind that had lost its way and got possessed by these ideas and believed in them. And now, in its desperation, in its fear and its anger and its rage, all inspired by the guilt, it projects out to a false universe. Okay? Happy with that? So a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn over intense fury. So remember that. Next time you get irritated, you get a bit frustrated, remind yourself, okay, this is just symptomatic of an intense rage that's in me. So I need to do the inquiry. That's why you don't tolerate any mind wandering. He's getting us to a point of zero tolerance for it, because the slightest little bit of anger then justifies this whole crazy thought system. Whereas if you just say no, it's not going to happen. I'm aware of it. It's not going to happen. Then it's like the zero tolerance of the ego will undo it. But if you're tolerant about it, then it's going to come in and use that.
So
Stick around.
is it like the closest we are to basically kill the ego or like undo the ego completely, the more rage we will feel, the more anger we will feel?
Yeah. As you go deeper, you got to go through the emotional level. So you might feel a lot of that. Rage is an emotion. But you can go beyond that into thought. Okay, so what's the thought behind the rage? And what's my core belief? The rage and any strong emotion is really designed to prevent you from going deeper and really looking at your thoughts and your core belief. Because it doesn't want to get you. It doesn't want you to see that. So it's a defense mechanism the ego uses to perpetuate its core belief.
Sure. That's why I've been sitting with this intense anxiety and
yeah,
and fear.
It's
or whatever.
a block, the veil drawn over, because beyond this lies just, okay, I see, it's just a thought. But the emotions are what confuse us. The emotional layer is why it's challenging to awaken. If it was just pure thought, you went, okay, well, it's just thought, and there's no emotion, then, well, what's the problem? I just, you could just get it. Who suffers? I mean, someone like Ramana, he just went through this. He went through the barrier of intense fear, just exploded that, just to let go of that fear. And then what opened up to him was the true self. He did the inquiry and he was like, well, I can see that there isn't really anyone who's suffering, who fears. Well, there isn't actually anyone who fears. Through that very, laser focused inquiry, got to that, that ultimate realization beyond all. But for most of us, there's all these barriers, there's these layers, emotional layer, quite thick, heavy, dense emotional layer, fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, and so on. And that's got to be undone. You've got to let go of those emotions in order to look very carefully at the beliefs and thoughts. Okay, so happy with number 2? Just remember that whenever you get angry, a minor irritation is a covering for intense rage, intense fury.
No, that's scary.
That really struck a chord with me this morning when I read that, because I've been feeling it lately. I felt little twinges of, oh, that's a bit annoying. But I've had a really hot, itchy scalp. So which normally is like a build up of anger for me. So yeah, that really struck a chord actually. A surprising one.
So remember that, because then you don't tolerate these things. You go, oh, well, it's okay. It's just a little bit of irritation, anger. It's normal. It's human. I'm human. I'm allowed to get angry or a little bit irritated. It's not a big deal, but it is. That's what you're saying. It is, because it's the top of the it's like the iceberg. 90% is under the water. It's unconscious. So you see the 10% of the little irritation on the top, on the surface level, but underneath it is this great big block of ice, which needs to be undone.
Yeah. Crazy that, yeah.
Don't let these things, little scraps of anger and fear, be aware of them. Okay, no, I need to let this go. I'm not just letting that one slip by and carry on. I'm going to apply this letting go methodology on. Remind myself that this isn't true and I am love. In every instance, in every situation, that's all you have to do. Remind yourself. No, this isn't true. That's the letting go. What is true is love. Okay, so number 3, try therefore not to let the little thoughts of anger. Lynn, do you want to read that first?
Yeah. Try therefore not to let the little thoughts of anger escape you in the practice periods. Remember that you do not really recognize what arouses anger in you, and nothing that you believe in this connection means anything. You will probably be tempted to dwell more on some situations or persons than on others, on the fallacious grounds that they are more obvious. This is not so. It is merely an example of the belief that some forms of attack are more justified than others.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that saying to you?
It's never about what we think it's about. Yeah, I can think of times when I've thought it's about a person saying something to me and upsetting me, but when I've calmed down, I've realised it was stuff I already had in me, and they were just kind of shouting it in my face, really, reminding me that I felt that way already.
Yeah. So it's projection. Projection and perception.
Reflection.
That's how it works. That's how the dream world works. So I project from my core belief of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love. I project subconsciously out. I manifest things that trigger me, that seem to be unfairly treating me, attacking me, and then I get angry, which is then coming from my core belief, saying, okay, so yeah, actually you are unworthy of love. You feel all those egoic thoughts and emotions. As a result, guilty, sinful, fearful, attacking, blaming, complaining. And now your perception is justified. Because look, they attacked you unfairly, you're unfairly treated. Well, actually, who wouldn't get angry? They must be angry about this because look at the terrible thing they've done to me. But actually, it's all of your own stuff. It's your own belief, thoughts, and emotion that's just arising, because that's the source of it. And then it's projected out, and now it comes back to you as a boomerang effect via the external world. So projection on the one hand of the mind, and then we've forgotten we're projecting. So then we perceive it on another level. So projection makes perception, he says, and we keep doing that from a core false belief of the ego. We keep going around and around until we're willing to question it. Say no,
So
actually, something more.
So you're saying to breathe through whatever we're feeling, like even if it's the mildest irritation or anger, you just breathe through it and you release it as it comes.
Yeah. So the mind training,
Let it go.
all these lessons, all of these lessons are lessons in letting thoughts and emotions go.
Yeah.
So you can use a lesson, you use the mind training idea for the day. I'm determined to see this differently. And you breathe. It's helpful because you can so exhale is helpful and helpful to let go of things using exhale breath. So these are just tools. It's an idea. It's a breath, couple of breaths to help you to release it. But it can save a huge amount of time to do. Okay. So everyone clear, projection outwards into the dream, that's unconscious. Doesn't seem to be happening, but it is. That's how the matrix works. And then you perceive it as real, and you perceive it from the same thought system that projected it. And so projection makes perception, and the two reinforce each other. You go round and around in this crazy thought system, believing that it's reality, and believing that you are suffering, and that there's no way out. Well, actually, the answer is very clear. Just don't believe in the idea of separation in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so where are we? Let's come back here. Nothing, what's he saying? Little thoughts of anger escape you, and the moment you do not really recognize what arouses anger in you, nothing that you believe in this connection means anything. Wow. So it's telling us, look, you're clueless. You have no idea. You think that you're angry for whatever the external reason is, but that's not the case. You're tempted to dwell on people and situations, the fallacious grounds that they are more obvious. This isn't so. In an example of the belief that some forms of attack are more justified than others. Okay, so any questions on this lesson? It's a simple lesson, but very profound. It's unpacking how the mind works here. Projection, perception, and telling us, okay, you need to be vigilant of even the minor irritation because of what it represents underneath. Okay, shall we do a meditation? Any other comments, questions on this?
No.
No? Okay. So we'll go into a meditation on it now. Okay, so Just sitting comfortably in your favorite meditation posture. Each shoulder width apart, your back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, clenching the sphincter muscle. It's a muscle used to lock the energy in, pull the energy up the spine, pull it into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space, then draw it up into the crown of your head. It's pausing at the top of the inhale. Pausing there at the top, and search your mind for all forms in which attack thoughts present themselves. Breathing into it. And just hold each one in mind while you tell yourself. So I'm determined to see or perceive, and then name the person or the situation specifically. Determined to see, I'm determined to see or perceive this person, the situation differently. So be as specific as possible. You might want to focus your anger on a particular attribute of a particular person, leaving the anger is limited to this aspect. So I'm just annoyed because I just had one thing about this person's habit they've got. So perception is suffering from this form of distortion. So I'm determined to see, determined to perceive. Just observe it, and with the intention to see it differently, there's a natural dissipation. So breathe into that, all of that again, whatever the emotion is, fear, anger, hatred, jealousy, rage, just breathe into it. And you're just going to blow it out. So determined to see or perceive this person, situation differently, and then exhale out. So just blow it out. All the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest in this stillness. In this deep peace and stillness. Beyond anger, beyond fear, beyond all these emotions, the layer of emotional covering lies the truth of who you are. Just rest here in this deep peace, stillness, beyond all anger, fear, hatred and attack thoughts, beyond anything the ego has invented, guilt and sin and shame, sickness and fear and death and loss. Beyond all of it. Lies the truth of who you are. So now's a good time to use your essence statement. Say in your mind to yourself, I am love. Or whatever it was longer. I am that. I am. I am this loving awareness. Just feel that. I am love. And then just breathe it in. So drop your attention into your heart center, one hand in your heart. Connect with your heart space. I am love. And just rest in that loving awareness for a couple of minutes. If any thoughts come up, just going to notice those, observe those. Just be willing to let them all go. Breathe in the love. Breathe in loving awareness. look at any negative thoughts, anger especially, it's better to listen about anger, and just be willing to let that all go. So you exhale it out, blow it all out. The breeze of your breath. Dark cloud leaving you, and restore your mind to love. So I am love. And just sink into this loving awareness. And it permeates through your entire being, body, pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. This calming, loving warmth arising. And surrender to this love. And there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to do. Nothing else to think about. Just be in this loving awareness. So just gently coming back. Some awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. And just scan your mind, observe thoughts, emotions coming up, body sensations, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricted in any way. And just let it go. Just blowing it all out. Breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. So notice how peaceful and calm you feel in the gap between breaths. Beyond anger, beyond fear. It's beautiful, loving awareness. So anchor that state in. Count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling and touching. To your hands, maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Smell in your nose, notice that. Notice what you're hearing. Surrounding environment. Noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state of mind. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, just remain in this awareness. And the peace and the stillness and this deep awareness carry you the rest of the evening and on into sleep. So it is said and so it is done. Now, on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So just look around. Just noticing various objects in the room. Anything that feels, whatever you look at, just observe in this very calm, quiet, detached way. Remind yourself as you look around, determined to perceive everything differently. I'm determined to see whatever your eyes happen to rest on. Determined to see this differently. I'm determined to see whatever else differently. Do that for half a dozen objects, randomly selected. And then the final, conclude the meditation to say, I'm determined to perceive everything differently. Just notice how you feel. Carry that state with you to the rest of the session and the evening. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. So it's all here, and we've done the lesson. So we would like to do a bit of text reading. Perhaps we're not going to manage all of it. It's 8:45. It's 11:15 your time, Kim. So if you need to drop off, now's of this time exit point. But
Yeah.
Yeah, John, I'm going to have to go and take the dog for a quick walk. So
yeah, okay,
a bit later.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for today, everybody.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you,
Amazing.
everyone. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everyone.
Yeah. Is
Also gonna go-
everyone bailing out?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
John.
Yes, sorry.
Tired.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. I'm tired as well. So yeah, we'll continue on tomorrow. Remember to get up tomorrow. I'll put it in your daily schedule on the email to say that I am love statements. Start doing that from tonight as part of your spiritual practice.
Thank
And
you.
do
Thank
exercise
you.
5. Exercise 7 as soon as possible, because that'll help you to just entrench it in your mind and really get the benefits from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow at normal time, 12:30.
Thank you. Good night,
Thanks very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you, John.
Namaste,
Thanks,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good
Bye.
night.